play a little Grand Theft Auto before 13? What's the worst that could happen? I'm not gonna be a criminal or anything. Right?
But because of the intensity, it seems like people have heard about what's going on, and all the overpasses that we've seen have been
It's me, Mario.
All we had to do was follow the damn train, CJ.
Grand Theft Auto is a series that I've played since I was a kid, when I really shouldn't have been playing this game. And that being said, may have caused some trauma in my childhood, but nonetheless, I'm here, not a felon, not yet at least, and living a pretty decent life. First time I ever played a GTA game was Vice City back when it first came out at my cousin's house, and I can remember vaguely getting chased by the cops, then flipping my car over in a pool and watching the car and myself explode with the cop car, not realizing that the cars upside down did blow up back then. Then my mom found out that I was playing an M-rated game and said, nope, you're done with that. So afterwards, I really couldn't play it. I went back to GameCube games. That is until I moved in with my father, and he had a PS2, Vice City, and San Andreas.
Are you asking me for a divorce?
Yay!
I never really played San Andreas at that point, nor did I really play Vice City. So what do you get when you have a kid who loves movies and loves video games, and is thrown GTA, Vice City, and San Andreas? I'll tell you what happens. He gets addicted. I played both these games non-stop for at least 2 years. Pretty much the only thing I played. And then you have a new one come out like Liberty City or Vice City Stories, and of course I'm hooked. Take my money. Or realistically my allowance money, which really just meant I did dishes and mowed the lawn. So when I finally heard that GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas were getting remasters, I of course had to jump on the bandwagon and get these games. This game was really my trial run to see if I actually buy the full trilogy or not. And did it even match up or surpass the original GTA San Andreas on PS2/Xbox or PC? The answer? No. Not at all. Not one bit. This game is what happens when you take a mobile port, make it a little bit shiny, and put it out on a next gen or current gen system. And guess what? It's horrible. They did nothing for this game. In fact, here's my review right now. I recommend you go pick up the original if you're trying to play these for the first time. Do not waste your money or time with these ones. With all that being said, let's get into it. Let's see what I actually thought about San Andreas, besides the obvious that I just stated. Let's start off with the negatives. For starters, the frame rate. The frame rate, I'm playing on an Xbox One X, and guess what? It still has choppy moments, consistently too. Mind you, a game made in 2004. There are better games right now ported by Xbox on Game Pass that do not look like this when it comes to frame rate. Next up, the songs. One of my favorite songs from the original soundtrack was Tupac's Don't Give a Fuck, and guess what? Rockstar did not give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck about you.
You could say that it's due to licensing issues, but when GTA Online is making $5 million a day roughly, what's even the point? Just another example of how there was no love or effort put into this remaster.
I'm rich, bitch!
Then you have the textures. Some textures of signs don't even load properly. Some people look like they're made out of Play-Doh. Hell, that's even a compliment. And then there's the draw distance. I don't want to play San Andreas and see the whole map before I even unlock the other 2 islands. It just makes it look like a small map. And back in the day, this map was huge. It was, for a long time, the biggest in the GTA series. Hell, even bigger than GTA 4. I could go on about all the issues in this game, and I really don't want to. So, let's go on to the pros of the remaster. There are none. At all. I've checked. And I mean that. There really are no pros to playing this game when you can just play the original. That's it. I can't. I'm not going to review this. This is trash. That's it. That's it. See, here we go. This is much better. I would play this any day of the week. Give me this. I'll even pay double than what the trilogy is going for right now. Now I can start stating the positives of this game and how much it means to me, and why it is probably in my top 5 greatest games of all time. For starters, the story. The story is fantastic. The story is like watching Goodfellas, Boys in the Hood, and Straight Outta Compton. It's all in one, a fantastic story driven by characters and plot, which has subplots per part of the story that you're on and how you're progressing. Each island has its own theme. For example, in Los Santos, you have a made-up version of Compton where you come back after living in Liberty City and have to bury your mom because of gang violence. And then it tells a story of family and friends from your childhood that really want nothing to do with you at first. And then they actually missed you this whole time and you're actually doing more good for the neighborhood than bad. Next, let's talk about the RPG aspects that they finally implemented in this game. You can finally work out now. You can eat. You can have a diet. You can become fat. You can be built. You can be skinny. You can starve to death even. And then there's your skills. You can have better driving skills, gun skills, flying skills. Pretty much anything you can think of, Rockstar did. The map I already discussed and how big it was and how much of a huge leap it was in technology for a PlayStation 2 disc to have so much like the map on it. The 3-island mechanic was implemented very well here. Each island tells its own story, like I mentioned before, from Los Santos to San Fierro to even Las Venturas, each respectively made up versions of LA, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. There's even unlockables per island that you're on. Next up, the customization. You can do so much from customizing your clothes, to your hair, to tattoos, to even your car, and making it your own unique style. Then you have the side missions. This has some of the best side missions that you'll see in a GTA game. From burglaries, lowriders, Zero's RC missions, to even the big heist in Las Venturas. I love playing these side missions over and over again, every time I play through the game. Last but not least, we need to talk about my favorite part of the GTA series, pretty much up until I started playing the story mode. You guessed it, cheat codes. I used to play this game with cheat codes more than I actually played probably the story. I used to print out the cheat codes in a big packet and then use them for probably a month, lose them or spill soda on them, then have to go reprint them. You had cheats that could get you to the first island without getting police on you, all the way to cars flying, cars driving on water, to using all of those cheats like having a tank that can fly and float on water, go on a 6-star rampage. Now, of course, for a game like this back in the day, there was always going to be a few issues, and you couldn't just update it like games today. There are a few glitches that were patched in updated versions, but it wasn't game-breaking like the one is today. They were small glitches that didn't really affect the gameplay. It was all about having fun. And that's what the new one's missing. The new one is missing the fun of GTA. The main reason we played these games as kids. Fun.
Like people have heard about what's going on, and all the overpasses that we've seen have been lined with cars. What has been going on down below as the presumed vehicle of O.J. Simpson is still traveling very slowly northbound along the 5 freeway, coming up again towards the